You're listening to John the Recruiter podcast, JTR, where we discuss everything recruiting. If you're looking to get into recruiting or to become a re-energized recruiter, stay tuned and be prepared to be motivated. Welcome to John the Recruiter podcast. I have been covering the modes of prospecting a recruiter used to be successful. We have already discussed events and mining. Now I want to talk about PDC, personally developed contacts. There are many ways to learn and master this skill. This mode, probably in my opinion, is the least used by all recruiters. And why? Well, let's remember in my earlier episodes when I said a great recruiter needs confidence and enthusiasm. Confidence is made up from attitude and product knowledge, and enthusiasm is made up from drive and motivation. Well, you need to work on your confidence and enthusiasm before you can master PDC. Because with PDC, you need to go out and approach potential candidates or people that could refer you those candidates at places that can spread the word for you that you are hiring. And number one, you have to have the confidence to approach these people and places. And number two, you have to have the enthusiasm to take the rejection and plenty of it and do it again and again and again. And how do you gain these skills? Practice, practice, practice. The goal is to spread the word on who you are and what you're hiring for. First, you'll need to have business cards, flyers, and possibly posters about your company and maybe what you hire for. Then you will want to know your territory and what you look for. And when you know your territory, what do you look for in that territory? Well, let's call them target centers, TCs. If you look for TCs in your market, they need to be places where you can find candidates, you can hire, or places that you could refer candidates to you. Those people and those TCs that will refer people to you will be known as TCIs, Target Center Influencers. So now identifying TCs. What do you recruit for? Where do they train? Where do they hang out? And where do they go to school, or where do they eat? These are all places that you can identify as TCs, where your candidates hang out, eat, and where do they go? I know some of you listening think I'm crazy. Why would you go to where IT software developers eat? Why not? If your biggest competitor is surrounded by restaurants and coffee shops, that's where I might want to hang out. I'd want to leave flyers and business cards. It's just a thought. Some of you are thinking, I will get kicked out. I say, so what? I've never been dragged out of places. I have been politely asked to leave, and I did. And after some time, maybe I went back. Here are some easy TCs to just get you going. Schools, workforce development centers, any organizations. These are usually easy to go into and leave your info with a TCI. And this is going to help you build your confidence when you start with those and go in and talk to these people. Now that you have an idea of what a target center is in your territory, you need to make a plan, just like everything else. And this is to saturate your market. This is prospecting, PDC. For those that don't have transportation, you can send information by mail or email. However, you won't know if it ever gets posted or not. If you go out PDC and you hit your TCs, you need to plan and follow up. Why? You want to see that your information was posted, and you want to develop a relationship with your TCIs at those target centers. And developing relationships with your TCIs will make them think of you first, and that's the whole goal. You want to take them treats or any company swag that you might have, buy them lunch. Your investment in them will pay dividends for you getting referrals in the future. And you will see once you start developing that relationship how it will help you. For some recruiters, you can walk into competitors, and this takes practice. I seen and did this in retail. And you walk in, you see great employees, and I'm going to tell you this takes practice, because when you walk into a competitor, if you see a great employee that you're like, I like that person, I'm going to tell you how to do this, how I did it. And the way that I did it is I walked up, I introduced myself, tell them as fast as you can that you like their style, give your business card, tell them who you are, and just walk away. Do not interrupt their time too much. And you could just tell them, hey, I just want to have a conversation with you. This is another some recruiters don't don't want to, or they refuse to do. And I disagree. If I recognize great talent, I want them to know it. And I want them in my organization. And from everything that I've done in recruiting, and when I've done this and talked to them after, because usually when I do this and approach him, eventually they call me. Eventually they have a bad day. And I've had some that have called me right away and they want to have a conversation. And I had some that 2 months later, they gave me a call. And it's usually because something happened in their current situation that changed and they wanted to talk to me. But when they did call me and I started that conversation, I was the one they called because they respected the fact that I noticed something in them. And then that's why they wanted to call me. And they didn't just go look online or go somewhere else to find another job. They remembered me. And that's why I believe that as a recruiter, if you walk up into competitors and you do that, that's why it happens. But remember, I'm relentless, and that's how you should be. I mean, how many of you listen are thinking of excuses of why you can't do PDC at this point? No way to reach my territory. It's unprofessional. Um, to approach candidates like that and at their workplace. I've heard it all. Candidates don't want to be bothered at lunch or at coffee break. Man, stop thinking like that. You never know when you are the opportunity that they've been waiting for forever. You never know when you catch them in that time period. And if you just do something fast and quick and just give them your card and move on, it's not a rude interruption. It's an opportunity. If you don't take these chances, how can you be successful? And you have to be relentless when you're a recruiter. Any recruiter that listens to this, if you want to be successful, you have to be relentless. Remember, enthusiasm is drive and motivation. You have to have that drive and motivation. I guarantee there are recruiters out there right now talking to employees in your company, because it happens all the time. When you first go into a TC, how would you approach it? Well, here's how I would. I would just say, hey, I'm John the recruiter, and I'm the recruiter for Tech Inc. I want to let everyone know who I am and about all the great opportunities at Tech Inc. Who could I talk to about putting out a flyer and my info for people to reach me about the great opportunities with us? What's the worst that they could say? Whether I'm in a restaurant, whether I'm at a gas station and want to put up a flyer, whether I'm at a wherever, an organization or whatever, what is the worst they could say? No thanks. I will tell you from my experience, what most people say is, hey, go ahead and give me the flyer or your information and I'll ask and see if I can get it put up. That is great. Because then what I say is, if they say, hey, leave it with me, I say, great. Is there a number or someone, a name that I can call and follow up with later and thank for putting it up for me? It's that easy. And then what I do is just follow up later, because then I'll come back in later and also make sure, see if it got put up. And if it didn't, I'm a little bit persistent. I'll check again. Now, as you do this and you see information gets put up, because in some places it will, if it doesn't, then follow up again. what I do in the places that it does get put up, I track all of the TCs that it gets put up in. And then I go in and thank them. I might take them a little gift, maybe buy them cookies or donuts or whatever. And I track it. And if they give me referrals, I give them a gift. And we'll talk about referrals in the next episode, but I take care of the people that take care of me. And when I make a list of all the target centers that I have, I get the contact information of the TCI who I'm working with there. Because sometimes that changes too. So that way I keep that updated. So I always go in so I know if, Sally or Bill is my TCI at that place. If I go back and Sally or Bill is left, then I put the new one down. And then I also try to find out where Sally or Bill went to, because maybe I can recruit them. And after some time, you'll have a good list going, and you can communicate through email and phone calls, and it just makes your job easier with all your TCIs, and it saves you a lot of time, and you're not all out there in your area all the time, because then you can follow up with an email to say, hey, we just posted this job and there's a good opportunity if you know somebody. And that information goes out there immediately, and all your TCIs get it. And that way, if they know somebody, they start referring your people. And it came to a point where when I would send out those emails, I was hitting hundreds of people, and I started getting referrals constantly. And it just helped my candidate pool. And it also helped the quality of my candidate pool for me to go through. Because usually when I sent out an email, I knew these people I was sending it to. So I put exactly what I was looking for, and I would get pretty good candidates. If you learn to master PDC and you build these relationships and own your territory, you will be a great recruiter. There's no doubt in that. I believe that this is the most challenging of all the prospecting modes that we've talked about. But it's the most rewarding. Your TCs and your TCIs and candidates will really get to know you and remember you by this mode, because it's all about building relationships. This will in turn create a better referral market for you and beat your competitors. Because I will tell you, not a lot of your competitors are doing this part or this prospecting mode. So if you can master this mode, you are going to be doing things that your competitors are not doing. And I know from experience, mastering this mode will make you stand out among your peers also. You will become relentless. Think of it this way. If you were on a recruiting team and like all the other, you are waiting for candidates to apply, reviewing resumes out of the same database, working on the same platforms, how are you going to stand out? PDC is where you can shine and show your skills to close the deal and find that unicorn and be the top dog. So what prospecting mode do you want to be the master at? I always chose PDC. Thanks for listening to the JTR podcast. Don't forget to follow me and let me know what you think. Stay motivated and be relentless. Thank you for listening to the JTR podcast. I retired in 2018 from the United States Navy as a Master Chief, and most recently was a Director of Recruiting for a company with over 80,000 employees. With over 25 years of experience in recruiting and recruiting leadership in some of the most challenging fields and markets. Stay tuned for more tips to be relentless. Stay motivated.